The Oneida Language. The Oneida language is part of the Iroquoian family, also known as the Six Nations Confederacy. As we can see, the Oneida language is located in the blue circle, which means it's more related to the Huron extinct language rather than the Cherokee one. This language has a very rich oral literature of ceremonies and a lot of stories. However, nowadays most of them has been written down by past generations. The Oneida language structure is very hard because it has a lot of properties like small inventory of sounds or no label phonemes, whispered syllables, small numbers of parts of the speech where most words are structurally verb even if they function as noun. It also has a very complex system of word formulation. So, we can say that a whole English clause is equivalent to a single Oneida verb. Here we have an example. It's the translation of a story called The White People Coming. On the other hand, we have how Berlitz Language Center considered this language. This center divides languages into two sections of difficulty, A and B. Languages like French and English are considered A because it can be learned easily. However, languages like Russian and Hebrew are considered to be B because of their complexity and because it has another alphabet. According to Richie Van Vliet, who is a local instructor supervisor at this language center, they will do at least C for the Oneida language because it's so hard, the words are so long, and students will need more hours to learn it. Here we have an example of the language.
Okay, good morning everybody. This is 89.5, the Eagle Station of Oneida.
The federal government has had a very important role in the preservation of the Oneida language. The start of the Oneida Language and Folklore Project in 1939 was very important. Maurice Swandish, a linguistic anthropologist at the University of Wisconsin, came with the idea to apply for federal money to study the language. With the help of an Oneida student called Floyd Lonsbury and an English Oneida dictionary from 1090, they learned the sound system and the structure of the language in order to create a new alphabet. Then Lonsbury taught this alphabet to a team of Oneidas, and after 2 weeks of training, they collected short stories in the Oneida language from other community members. This material helped Lonsbury and the Oneidas to understand better the morphology of the language and to start creating a new and better dictionary. This was a very important event because the Oneida community in Wisconsin felt that they contributed to preservation of their language, which by that time they were losing it. Another important plan to preserve the language was the Oneida Bilingual Program from 1974 to 1985. Thanks to this program, the Oneida language was introduced for the first time to the local public school and were taught few minutes a day. Also, in 1970, universities started to offer Oneida language as a credit-bearing curriculum. The Native American Language Program at the University of Wisconsin is very significant because people from Oneida tribe recorded native words, phrases, and stories, and the result of this was the publication of the Oneida Language Manual. It is important to mention that at this point, in the 80s, the Oneida language started to be part of the curriculum at the Oneida Tribal School. And in 1994, the Oneida Nation High School had a 4-year classes of the Oneida language and culture. In 1996, the Oneida Language Center was established on the reservation, and it can be considered as a laboratory with elders fluent in Oneida language instructors. In 2004, the Berlitz Language Institute began a program to teach Oneida. They did it with the help of 8 Oneida members, and the idea was to ensure the survival of this language. Thanks to all this, nowadays we have resources online to learn Oneida. For example, the University at Green Bay shared resources to help the people to understand and to learn the language. Also, there are some communities on Facebook like Oneida Language Project that has a goal to provide information and teaching the Oneida language and culture. The community expectation for the Oneida language preservation and recovery effort are very varied. In the book of Oneida Indian Experience, Clifford Abbott, who is a professor at the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, and is involved in the efforts to preserve their language, mentions some community expectations about the preservation of the language. First, the Oneida language won't replace the English language. However, it can be seen as a recreational language that can be used in special moments when family and friends get together. Others value the language effort as a way to preserve the tribe's traditions, and others believe that it has a political benefit to preserve it. However, it is important to notice the last point. Some people consider that a tribe without a language is more vulnerable to have threats by the federal government. So the status of this language is that because it's so difficult to learn, less people speak it. Sherry Bigland, a language instructor, has been studying the language for 14 years, and she emphasized that it's very frustrating to learn it fluently. Nonetheless, Canada is one that has the highest number of Oneida speakers. Wisconsin only has 10 or less fluent speakers, and New York has none. However, Randy Cornelius, a language teacher from Wisconsin, mentions that the Oneida language is declining because even though they have been teaching it for 31 years now, they cannot develop a system where the person can learn the language fluently. They only understand the basic vocabulary and ceremonies. Also, they don't use it in the community. Despite the fact that some couples use it at home, their children don't learn it fluently. Above all, it has been over 90 years when they had a child whose first language was Oneida. Thank you.